Her hand rested on the doorknob, her perfume drifting through the hallway like the fading trace of a memory already slipping beyond my reach. "I won't be long," she said. Words that should have sounded harmless, maybe even reassuring. But that night, something in her voice felt different. Light. Distant. As if she wasn't trying to comfort me anymore, but quietly reminding me how little my peace of mind mattered now. Sitting on the couch, my fingers tightened around the edge of a coffee cup that had already gone cold. I looked up and replied gently, "Take your time." Then, before I could hold the words back, I added, "There's nothing left here for you." My voice never cracked or grew louder. It stayed calm, almost too calm. She paused at the doorway for the briefest moment, her shoulders tensing just slightly before she walked away. The door shut with one final click, leaving behind a silence so heavy it proved she hadn't only taken her keys. She had taken the last pieces of what we once were. The breaking point hadn't begun that night. It had started many months before, through a series of tiny, small cracks began appearing, ones that seemed harmless on their own. Longer hours at the office, a new habit of carrying her phone everywhere, even into the bathroom, the way her lips curled into quiet smiles as she stared at glowing screens I was never allowed to see. At first, I blamed myself. Work had been exhausting. Maybe I hadn't been present enough. Maybe I wasn't giving her enough reasons to stay close. But instinct rarely lies, and mine grew louder with every passing day. The first undeniable crack appeared 3 weeks ago. She told me she was meeting a friend. Just an hour later, her location showed up at a hotel across town. I convinced myself it had to be a glitch, a mistake, anything except what it so obviously suggested. Accepting the truth meant admitting that the woman I had planned my future with had already walked away from me in every way that truly mattered. When she finally returned home that night, later than usual, I sat on the couch pretending to watch television. Her heels clicked softly across the floor. "You're still awake?" she asked, hiding her surprise behind a casual smile. "I was waiting," I replied calmly. "Waiting for what?" she asked, her eyes drifting past me. She set her purse down and looked at me. "For you? Maybe for the truth." That single sentence cracked her composure, even if it lasted only a moment. Her practiced smile returned almost immediately, filled with pity and quiet dismissal. "James, not tonight. I'm exhausted." "Where were you?" I asked, my voice steady and unshaken. "With Anna," she replied, too quickly, far too smoothly. "Anna," I repeated, never taking my eyes off her. "Right." She hesitated for a split second. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said slowly as I rose to my feet, "that I know you weren't with Anna." The room suddenly felt heavier. She reached for her phone, her fingers shaking ever so slightly. "You've been tracking me," she whispered. "No," I answered. "Your phone revealed everything. Maybe it was an accident. Or maybe fate wanted me to discover the truth." After that night, we moved through the house like strangers trapped beneath the same roof, speaking only when responsibility left us no choice. Neither of us dared to say it aloud, yet the truth lingered between us like a live wire, impossible to ignore. Then tonight she got ready with more care than she had shown in months. Every stroke of the makeup brush was precise, her perfume lingered softly on her skin. She wore that black coat I had once loved so much. "I won't be long," she said, and I simply nodded in return. The moment the door closed behind her, I walked to her nightstand. The second phone was exactly where I knew I would find it. The instant I unlocked the screen, the details of her secret life unfolded before my eyes. "Where am I supposed to go?" she whispered, panic gripping her voice. "I'm not leaving," I replied, taking another sip of my coffee. "You are—" "Please, James, can't we just talk about this?" "We already did," I said calmly. "You just never chose to listen." Over the next several days, she tried everything. She bargained, reminded me of our past, and spoke about everything we had built together. But the foundation she kept talking about no longer existed. It had been shattered beneath the weight of the choices she made. I filed for separation, froze the bank accounts, and changed the locks after she packed her essentials and left. She walked away carrying a suitcase, a hollow apology, and the false belief that she had found something better with the man waiting in the shadows. But he didn't win her heart. He inherited whatever remained of the damage. A few weeks later, she called. "I just wanted to see how you're doing," she said quietly. "I'm doing well," I answered honestly. "Better than I have been in a very long time." "I made a mistake," she whispered. "No," I replied gently. "You made a decision." Silence settled between us, filled with every word that would never be spoken. Then, in a fragile voice, she asked, "So, there's really nothing left for me?" I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of those painful months settle heavily across my chest before letting out a slow breath. "No," I said. "Not here. Healing doesn't arrive with loud victories. It begins as a quiet spark. It's found in a peaceful morning coffee enjoyed alone without resentment. In evenings when the empty side of the bed feels less like loneliness and more like freedom. In the first genuine smile shared with a stranger that no longer feels like a betrayal. I still think about her sometimes, not with anger and not even with sadness, but with the distant curiosity you reserve for a story you once treasured until its final chapters let you down. She told me she wouldn't be gone for long. I looked at her and said, "Take your time." And this time, I truly meant it, because now time belongs to me.